Hello everyone and welcome into this episode today. It is so nice to be here with you and I'm really looking forward to diving into this topic with you today where we're going to be talking about why you might be feeling disconnected from your feminine energy and why you might find it hard to truly embody this energy and actually really live from this energy in your life, where your feminine energy is now your guide and is your primary way of moving through the world. Because you might be someone who's been learning about feminine energy, reading books, listening to podcasts, maybe even taking courses, and you might have an understanding of what it means to have a connection to your feminine energy, yet you still find it hard to truly embody it. And you still might default back to your old ways of being more in your masculine and being more in your mind and hustling and pushing and forcing and rushing and all the things we do when we're disconnected from our feminine. So I'm going to explain why that is today. I'm going to give you 5 key reasons why I see that women become disconnected from their feminine energy and find it challenging to truly live from this energy. And we're going to talk through what to do about that today, because this work is not just about looking more feminine or feeling more feminine. This is about truly discovering a whole new way of living your life. This is truly a whole new way of living and being and feeling and relating as a woman, where your feminine energy is now your guide. It's your primary operating system. It's how you move through the world and experience the world. So it requires a lot of deprogramming and unraveling of old ways of being and really discovering whole new ways of living your life that leads to so much more nourishment and fulfillment and aliveness and joy and pleasure and flow and ease as a woman. Okay, so we're going to dive into this today and I'm going to talk through these 5 key reasons why you might be experiencing a disconnection and what you can do about it. Before we get into that, I have 2 really quick announcements. The first is that this week I am hosting the Embodied Woman free training that is running live on the 29th and 30th of October. Depending on when you're listening to this, you might be able to register and come along live. If not, you can catch the replays until Sunday, the 3rd of November. You can catch them for free until that date. So still come down to the show notes, register for the training, and you will get access to the replays if you can't make it live with me. And I highly recommend working through that training if anything in this episode resonates with you. So jump down to the show notes to come along to that. And the second announcement is that we are now enrolling for Divine Femme. Enrollments are open for this intake of Divine Femme, and this is my 6-month feminine healing and embodiment program. Now, I know there's a lot of you on the wait list and a lot of you are interested in joining Divine Femme. So if you've been waiting for the doors to open, come down to the show notes, click on the link for Divine Femme and come and secure your spot. This is where I do the really deep reprogramming, healing, feminine awakening, feminine reclamation, and embodiment work with women. So if you want to walk that journey with me over 6 beautiful months, come down to the show notes to learn more about Divine Femme. We have early bird pricing available until Sunday, the 3rd of November. So come down to the show notes to learn more about that program and secure your spot in Divine Femme. Okay, so let's dive into what we want to talk about in our episode today. We're going to get into these 5 key reasons, but let me start off with talking about this disconnection from our feminine energy. And although I've got 5 key reasons why this can happen, it all ultimately comes down to this one core reason. There is this one core reason why women find it hard and why they struggle to embody and connect with their feminine energy. And it is primarily because they don't feel safe. They don't feel safe to embody their feminine. They don't feel safe to soften and relax and open and drop into their feminine energy. Because the primary thing that a woman needs to be able to embody her feminine is a feeling of safety. And it truly all boils down to not feeling safe. And I'm going to unpack that a little bit more in this episode, because you might initially be like, oh, that sounds interesting. Like, I don't consciously maybe have an awareness of not feeling safe, but this is likely subconscious. And so I'm going to break down these 5 reasons that women don't feel safe to be in their feminine. So very often, for a woman to truly be able to embody her feminine energy and live from her feminine, she has to start to work through what it is that is stopping her feeling safe in this energy, and start to work through creating an internal experience of safety in her body and her nervous system, so that she can unravel into more of her feminine. And there truly is such a difference between having this outward perception and expression of being feminine. Like, you might see women and they might look very feminine externally based on how they do their hair and makeup, or how they dress, or their external appearance. But a woman who looks very feminine externally can still have a very deep disconnection inside her body from her feminine qualities and her feminine energy. And a lot of this comes down to safety, right? So there is often this healing journey that a woman needs to walk on her feminine embodiment journey to be able to heal her nervous system, heal her conditioning, heal her limiting beliefs, heal her fears, to be able to feel safe enough to truly embrace her feminine energy once again. And so when I work with women, it is not as simple as me saying to women, oh, here is a list of feminine embodiment practices, or things, feminine qualities or feminine tools. Go do that, and now you're going to become this deeply feminine woman. Like, if it was that simple, my programs would only be, a few weeks long, and people would have these incredible transformations in a matter of weeks. But my programs are, they're longer programs. Divine Femme is 6 months, because I'm aware there is this real healing and unraveling and untangling that needs to happen before a woman can truly be able to come into her feminine. And there is a level of safety that we need to start to cultivate, because coming into your feminine requires openness, receptivity, deep feeling, vulnerability, and softening. Maybe slowing down, maybe letting go of all of this over-functioning and self-protective mechanisms, all of these coping mechanisms that you've built that keep you feeling safe in the world. We actually need to unravel them for you truly to be able to feel a connection with your feminine. So when I do this work with women, I don't guide them straight into all the feminine work. I don't want to blast you open, pull you way outside your range, blow out your nervous system, trying to get you to hold and experience all of this feminine energy inside your body. We actually need to create a safe space inside of you to be able to hold that. We need to expand your capacity. We need to regulate your nervous system. We need to get you in connection with your body so you can truly hold all of this beautiful feminine life force that we're going to awaken through our work. So sometimes I'm seeing feminine courses out there that are either really short and a very surface level and a very performative, to be honest, and take a woman into a surface level performative experience of her feminine, which is not truly embodied. Or there are these really deep containers that are actually working a lot with sexual energy, self-pleasure, turning on your eros, orgasmic manifestation, all these different things. And really, bringing a lot of sexual energy and life force moving through your body. But that can totally blow you out if you don't have the nervous system capacity to hold all of that energy that you're now awakening, right? So when I do this work with women, I start with 2 fundamental pieces. 1, developing a connection with your body. Because you can't truly access your feminine if you're not able to get into your body. You have to first feel safe to come into your body. The second thing we work on is actually unraveling the wounds, the beliefs, the judgments, and the fears that you hold around your feminine qualities that make you feel that being in your feminine is not safe. And it's not inherently true that it's unsafe to be in your feminine. It's that you have wounds, beliefs, judgments, and fears that make you feel that way. So we need to do healing work around that. So developing a connection with the body and working through all of this conditioning around the feminine is really the starting point. Yeah. And if you're entering some type of program or work and they're not doing these two pieces, you're really not getting the foundation you need to truly be able to live from your feminine in a sustainable, safe, and nourishing way. Okay? So let's get into these 5 key reasons why you don't feel safe to be in your feminine. So, I opened up saying we're talking about why you're disconnected from your feminine, but now I'm really getting to it's actually about safety. And here's the 5 key reasons why you don't feel safe to be in your feminine and what we can do about it. Reason number 1 is that you are living in survival mode. So your nervous system is currently in a state of survival. And it is very difficult to be in your feminine energy when you're in survival. And this could be an extended period of survival mode, or it could just be like a day or a period of time where your body starts to go into a survival state. This can be things like when we're in financial survival, like we feel like we're living paycheck to paycheck, we're barely getting by, we're barely making ends meet. That can put your body into survival mode. Periods of chronic stress that are so prolonged that you just feel like you can't relax, you can't unwind. Chronic dysregulation in your nervous system, where you feel like you are just primarily operating from fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, and it's really hard for you to shift out of that. Periods where you're really heavily under-resourced financially, under-resourced time-wise, support-wise, where there's not a lot of support or time and capacity to really focus on anything except just getting by, right? So this is where we can't even think about bigger picture things. We are literally just putting out the fires of what's happening moment to moment, day to day in our lives. Or maybe we're in a state of just constant fear. We just feel like fear is the dominant energy that's active in our nervous system. Fear of failure, fear of losing love, fear of not being good enough, fear of taking a step forward, fear of getting it wrong, fear of rejection. If that's the primary energy, like our nervous system is more in survival. So when we are in a survival state, and like I said, this can be something prolonged where you actually have been functioning from this state for quite a while, or maybe it's just a short period of time where there's a lot going on and you can feel your nervous system has gone into that survival mode. This is a very difficult time to be able to actually embody your feminine because there's no safety there. You don't feel safe enough to be able to actually feel what's happening in your body and relax and slow down and take a break, right? So before, if a woman came into my space in that state, and I do have women sometimes come into my programs in that space, I would really start with working with her on her nervous system. Yeah, she would need some work around resourcing, regulating herself, learning how to actually calm and soothe her nervous system, self-soothe, really support and resource herself internally inside what she's experiencing, and actually support and take care of the parts of herself that are living from fear. Because there's parts inside of her that are feeling so unsafe that they're in a state of fear, and fear is just driving everything. So I'd be doing work with her around taking care of likely the younger parts inside of her that are stuck in fear, that are stuck in dysregulation, or a stress response in the body, or a survival response, and really slowly supporting her with taking care of her nervous system, gently connecting with her body, and maybe starting to actually look at how she's using her time and energy, and maybe making some changes there so that she can actually maybe start saying no to some things, or set some boundaries, or bring some of her energy back to herself. So you can absolutely start the feminine work if you're in this space, but there's a little bit of a healing journey that needs to happen before you can fully lean into that energy. So that would be one of the first things that would be blocking a woman really embodying her feminine. The second thing that I see that keeps women disconnected from their feminine energy or not feeling safe to be in their feminine is that they don't feel safe to be in their body. Now, being in your feminine requires you to connect with your body because your feminine energy resides in your body. And it actually asks you to be able to start to be with the sensations and the feelings and the emotions and the experiences of your physical body. So if you're someone who doesn't really know how to feel and meet and be with what's alive in your body, how to hold and support yourself through it, how to regulate yourself inside of it, you won't feel safe to be in your body. If you are someone that is really stuck in numbing, avoiding, distracting, escaping your body, it's going to be very difficult for you to connect with your feminine energy because the first step to connecting with your feminine is connecting with your body. And so this often happens for women when there's a lot of unprocessed trauma or emotion inside the body. A lot of things that you have never felt, and a learned history of leaving your body when things get too much. A learned history of disassociating when there's things that happen inside of you that you don't know how to be with. Now, it is absolutely possible to work on this. Majority of women that come into Divine Femme who start the first module, which is on embodiment, very often say, wow, Connie, I don't even know how to be with what's happening in my body. I don't even know how to start to feel all of these emotions and sensations that are in there. I'm so used to disconnecting. So when I'm supporting a woman with this, we move really, really slow. And sometimes even in Divine Femme, majority of the journey is about me slowly supporting her to feel again, to really reconnect with her body, to feel safe to be with what's coming up in her body, and to slowly reassociate and heal some of the unprocessed trauma that she had been holding inside of her body, right? So as we slowly learn how to reconnect with our body, how to unlearn our patterns of numbing, disconnection, avoiding, running away, we will slowly be able to start to connect with our feminine, right? The more you come into your body, the more you'll start feeling. You're feeling sensations, you're feeling emotions. You're able to feel your true needs, your true desires. You're able to connect with the feminine energy centers in your body and hear your feminine wisdom, hear your inner guidance. You connect with your cyclical nature, your womb wisdom. You connect with your pleasure and your sensuality because you start to resensitize the body and you come out of numbness and you can start to feel more pleasure, feel more aliveness, feel more sensual, and you start to feel your true power awakening in your body. So this really does require us to start to return to the body. And until a woman can start to feel safe and expand her capacity to be in her body with everything that's coming up, she won't be able to have a connection to her feminine. So this is where I start with women, whether she's a one-on-one client or in Divine Femme, we do this work of reassociating with the body, and it is the absolute foundation of reconnecting with your feminine. All right. Reason number 3 that you might be disconnected from your feminine energy and might not feel safe to be in your feminine is that you hold wounds, negative judgments, limiting beliefs, and fears about feminine energy that make this energy feel unsafe for you to connect with. And let me tell you why this happens. Let me tell you why women have fears, limiting beliefs, negative judgments, and wounds around feminine energy, not just their own, but feminine energy in general, right? This can be because when you were growing up, your mother was not embodied in her healthy feminine energy. And she did not bring you that really warm, nurturing, compassionate, kind, accepting, unconditionally loving presence and energy. She may have been in more of a wounded feminine. She might have been lost in her own drama, her own emotions. She might have been emotionally avoidant and detached. Or she might have been more masculine. She might have been quite hard and critical and stern on you and cold. And because your feminine energy was not nurtured by your mother, and because you didn't receive that healthy feminine energy, it creates wounding around this energy for you. This can also be the case if when you were growing up, your feminine qualities were not welcomed, celebrated, held, witnessed, welcomed, loved, and seen. So your feminine qualities of your emotions, your sensitivity, your softness, your creativity, your intuition, your expressiveness, right? If you didn't feel like these were welcomed and wanted and they got you love and connection, you might have started to reject them and push them away and shame them inside of you. Or you might have received messaging that these parts of you were too much, that you were too loud, too expressive, too playful, too sensitive, too all-feeling, whatever it is. And this creates negative judgments and beliefs about feminine energy. It could also be that you were really heavily praised and acknowledged and celebrated for your masculine qualities. So growing up, your academics, your intellect, your sports achievements, your performance, your ability to be strong and get things done seemed to get you the most love and praise and validation. So you over-animated those qualities as a way to feel safe and good enough. And so this will all bring up fear, right? When it comes to you wanting to connect with your feminine. And it will bring up all this resistance. And all your old limiting beliefs and woundings and fears from when you were young subconsciously will come up. And you'll think, do people even want to see this side of me? Is this side of me lovable? Is this wanted? Will this get me love and connection? Will people pull away from me? Is this a weak energy? Is this energy pathetic? Is this energy silly? Is this energy too much? Will I be taken advantage of if I'm in this energy? Will I be, controlled and dominated? You might also have beliefs come up like, oh, if I come into my feminine energy, I'm not going to get anything done. You might have beliefs that will make you think that embodying your feminine will mean losing money, falling behind on deadlines, not getting anything done, regressing in your career, not achieving anything. You might have beliefs that say, oh, feminine energy is just about resting all day and napping and not having any goals and not doing anything and just having baths all the time. Whatever these belief systems are that you have, whatever these woundings are that you have, and whatever fears come up around the idea of embracing more of your feminine, these are going to stop you. So a big part of the work that I do when I work with women is reprogramming this stuff. Really looking at the root cause of where these fears, these negative judgments, these beliefs, and these wounds come from, which is very often your childhood, very often your relationship with your mother, and sometimes the relationship with your father, and whether you were really acknowledged for your masculine side. And we go in and we do healing work around this, and we reprogram this, and we really shift a woman's beliefs and perceptions around her feminine energy and help her create new examples and possibilities of what embodying her feminine energy can look like in her life, and really why this is the key to her having everything she truly desires. So it is absolutely possible to work through this. You just need to do some of the inner reprogramming work around it so you can feel safe to embrace this part of yourself, and believe that it is a really healthy, empowered, beautiful, magnetic, magical part of you that you actually want to reclaim. All right, reason number 4 why you feel disconnected from your feminine energy and you don't feel safe to be in your feminine, and this sort of ties into what I was just saying, is whenever you have embodied your feminine energy in the past, you've actually fallen more into wounded feminine energy rather than healthy, mature, empowered feminine. And if you ever find yourself operating from your wounded feminine energy, you are not in your power. You're going to feel disempowered, and it's actually not going to feel very good, right? So you will feel likely weak. You might feel passive, powerless. You might feel like you don't have a voice. You can't ask for what you want and need. You have to be really submissive. You might feel like a bit of a victim, like you're easily controlled and dominated by others. You might feel this really insecure, needy part of you that's desperate for love come out. You might find yourself drowning in your emotions. You might feel really oversensitive and be hyper aware of what people think of you. You might feel like you become just really avoidant and really lazy and you don't want to get anything done. You might feel really insecure. Like all of this does not feel good because this is not the healthy, mature, embodied, empowered feminine. This is wounded feminine energy. Okay. And this ties into my previous point. We fall into wounded feminine energy when we hold wounds around the feminine, mother wounds, or wounds around the way that our own feminine energy was nurtured. And so when you start to come back to your feminine, actually all of this wounding starts running how your feminine energy is expressing itself. So there is a journey that a woman needs to go on to move from being this little girl, this damsel, this princess, this maiden that is not in her power as a woman, to becoming the mature queen, divine feminine in her life. It's this maturation process, it's a healing process, and it's a process of truly reclaiming your feminine power. So when a woman learns how to embody her healthy, mature feminine, develop a healthy masculine energy that helps honor and protect her, reclaim her dark feminine, more of her fierce feminine, be able to stand up for herself and speak her truth and say no and be herself fully, then she can really honor and protect herself and she can live more from her empowered feminine. So once you are truly in your power, in your body, you've healed your wounding around the feminine and you've cultivated a healthy inner masculine energy, you're really in your mature feminine, you will actually feel so incredibly safe to be in your feminine energy, to express your feminine, because you know how to honor yourself. You are tuned into your intuition, you are tuned into your body wisdom, you know how to set boundaries, how to speak your truth, how to stand up for yourself, you've raised your self-worth. Yeah, you listen deeply to yourself, and therefore you're looking after your tender feminine heart, you're looking after this soft, sensitive part of you, and you will feel completely safe to be in this energy. Okay, so this is a big part of the healing work I do with women, is helping them move out of wounded feminine energy and into healthy, mature, empowered, embodied feminine. And that is what is needed to feel safe to be in your feminine energy. And reason number five why you don't feel safe to be in your feminine, or you might be disconnected from your feminine energy, is because you have learned to feel safe by being in your masculine energy. You find a sense of safety through control and through being in your masculine, wearing your masculine armor and your masculine shield. That's what makes you feel safe, rather than knowing how to create true inner safety inside yourself that allows you to relax into your feminine. So this is where, as a woman, you find safety through doing, achieving, and controlling. You feel good enough through doing, achieving, and controlling. And your whole sense of safety is actually really kind of resting on how well you can control and micromanage the external world and how much you can do and achieve. And this is actually one of the key reasons that women overfunction in their masculine energy, is because they don't feel safe in their feminine. This is a coping mechanism. This is something you learn to do as a very young girl at some point when you did not feel safe. So because you didn't feel safe, you learn to become strong and independent. You learn to go up into your head as a way to intellectualize and disassociate from your feelings. You learned how to suppress and deny your emotions and pretend you don't feel anything. You learned how to build armor over your heart to protect your heart from ever being hurt. You learned to bury yourself in work and your achievements and your doing, so you didn't have to focus on other areas of your life, like maybe your relationships where you actually feel more vulnerable and feel more out of control. You became emotionless and resilient and tough. You learned how to micromanage people, micromanage yourself, micromanage events around you, and perform, become perfect. Yeah? Achieve a lot to give off this impression of success. But so much of this is a mask. And so much of this is an external coping mechanism because deep down, you actually feel unsafe. And so you've built all this masculine armor and shielding around your tender feminine heart, and you've cut off from your feminine energy, okay? And this is one of the primary spaces that women are in when they come to my work, whether they come to one-on-one or they come into Divine Femme. And so a big part of the work I do with women is unlearning and unraveling this masculine energy, this wounded masculine energy. This is not healthy masculine energy. Healthy masculine energy is a really clear, conscious, grounded, calm energy that actually serves and supports your feminine to have more of what she truly wants. It's an energy that honors your feminine, protects your feminine, and takes constructive action towards helping your feminine create what she desires. It's not this heady, closed, controlling, guarded energy. That's wounded masculine energy. Okay, and wounded masculine energy is cutting you off from so much of what you desire in your life. It's repelling your relationships, it's burning you out, it's exhausting you, and it's keeping you stuck in your head. So if you are, if you have really learned to be in your wounded masculine energy as a way to feel safe, this is something that will need to be unraveled and healed for you to be able to truly embody your delicious feminine energy. So that is one of the actual key reasons that I see women being disconnected from their feminine. So I just want to check in with you at the end of all of that. And I just want you to feel into your body and just tune into, like, how do you feel about being in your feminine? How do you feel about slowing down? How do you feel about softening and opening, moving at your true pace, listening more deeply to your body, coming out of a space of doing and allowing yourself to be in a space of being? Yeah, focusing on what you want to create rather than just what you want to achieve. Listening to your intuition rather than the thoughts of your mind. Feeling your emotions rather than numbing. Being vulnerable and revealing your heart rather than armoring and self-protecting. Receiving support and help and love rather than always giving. Dropping into your womb wisdom and starting to connect with your cyclical nature. Practice self-care, deeply nourish yourself. What comes up for you when you think about dropping into more of this space? Fear, resistance, limiting beliefs, contraction in your body, anxiety, thinking how do I do that and still achieve everything I want in my life? Notice what comes up, because this is what is getting in the way. And this is the work that needs to be done. This is what you need to work through to allow you to be able to reconnect with your feminine energy. So we don't do this feminine work because it looks cute and because, it's trending on Instagram and because we think it's going to get us more of what we want in our life. We do it because as a woman, we are genuinely craving a whole new way of living our lives. A way that feels more nourishing and relaxed and fulfilling and pleasurable and enjoyable and enlivening. Because we are tired of being exhausted and burnt out and pushing and hustling and proving ourselves and trying to be perfect and trying to be the good girl. And we want to know a new way of living and being where we feel whole and empowered and embodied and feminine. So my love, if you want to learn how to reconnect with your feminine energy, come home to your body, unravel this hyper masculine and exhausting way of living. Start to listen to your heart, your intuition, your true desires, and bring your life into alignment. create and manifest beautiful, nourishing, fulfilling relationships, learn how to truly love and support and connect with yourself, come back to the joy and the pleasure and the sensuality of life, and start to come out of numbness and truly start to feel again, I want to invite you into Divine Femme. This is where we do all this beautiful work. Everything I've touched on with you today, we work on in Divine Femme. We work on healing and unraveling and deconditioning all of these pieces that are disconnecting you from being the woman you truly desire to be. Yeah, we work on reconnecting you with your body, healing your nervous system, healing your wounds around your feminine energy, unraveling your wounded masculine energy, and starting to reclaim your feminine qualities and come into your full feminine power. So you can move forward in your life as this divinely feminine woman. Yeah, mature, healthy feminine energy, embodied, empowered, creating the life that you truly desire and feeling soft and in flow and magnetic and radiant as you do it. So if you want to join this intake of Divine Femme, come down to the show notes or go to conniechapman.com/divinefemme. Enrollments are currently open and I would absolutely love to see you in there. So come down to the show notes to secure your spot in Divine Femme. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, my love. If you enjoyed it, come and share it to your stories, tag me, send me a message, let me know what you loved about this episode, pass it on to a friend who you think may gain value from this episode. Make sure you are subscribed to Awaken Radio so you never miss an episode, and come and give the show a 5-star rating if you really love what you're hearing on this podcast. Thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to talking to you again next time.